The Bend City Council voted to place a 5-cent per gallon fuel tax on the March 8 ballot. If approved by voters, the measure would take effect on July 1st, 2016. Here's more information.
Bend citizens have noticed that the streets are deteriorating and have said improving streets is a priority. How do we get here? During the recession, the city cut back its pavement preservation work. Continually increasing traffic volume has added to streets' wear and tear. City of Bend has accumulated $80 million worth of deferred street maintenance needs, and road conditions are declining. The street's existing funds are not keeping up with the growing backlog of deferred street maintenance.
Property taxes in Bend, the general fund, pay primarily for the fire department, police department, and streets. But the City of Bend has one of the lowest property tax rates in the state. State law restricts Bend's ability to increase the permanent property tax rate. As a result, the city has limited property tax income and has to make decisions about allocating resources. Other street funding comes from federal and state gas taxes. However, the federal gas tax rate hasn't increased in 22 years. In Oregon, the gas tax has increased only once in the past 22 years.
Some street maintenance and improvements are paid for by the city's share of state allocated revenues, which includes the state fuel tax. This revenue is based on a formula that includes Bend's permanent population, but does not account for the impact of tourism on city streets. Following input from a citizen advisory group called the Street Maintenance Funding Committee, the City Council allocated more of the general fund from property taxes into street funding. The Street Maintenance Funding Committee also noted a need for additional sustainable funding to keep road conditions from declining and to maintain streets in the most cost-efficient way.
Bend has a pavement management strategy to maximize cost effectiveness of preservation and maintenance. Regular preventative maintenance extends the life of a street and costs less over time. Every $1 spent on preservation saves $5 for rehabilitation or $12 for reconstruction. This road needs a crack seal, which costs an estimated $10,000 per lane mile. This road needs an overlay, which costs an estimated $91,000 per lane mile. This road needs a reconstruct, which costs an estimated $422,000 to $633,000 per lane mile.
The council decided to put a 5-cent per gallon fuel tax on the March 8 ballot so we can begin work on these improvements. If the measure is approved, residents and tourists would pay the 5-cent per gallon fuel tax that would generate an estimated $2.5 million annually.
There are many factors that influence the price of gas, a fuel tax being just one. The cost of a 5-cent per gallon tax to a consumer who fills a 20-gallon tank 3 times in a month would be $3 per month. Local fuel taxes must be approved by voters. 24 other Oregon cities have approved a local fuel tax.
The 5-cent per gallon tax proposed in Measure 9-105 would provide funding for preservation of city streets, including repair and maintenance. City streets include bike lanes, sidewalks, and curb ramps. Proceeds could only be used for street preservation purposes.